Hi, so today we're going to be looking at how to use the tool Trello to create learner portfolios. So what we're going to be using today is Trello.com. There's also a Trello app. Trello is a great tool for project management. It's a great tool to keep track of different tasks and things that you have to do, but it's also a great place to store and collect artifacts that you've been working on. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and logged in at Trello.com. I could have used the app. I'm just going to go ahead and screencast from Trello.com today. And I'm here in Dave Pryor's account. Dave is my dog, so he won't be creating any portfolios anytime soon, but I've created one for him. So within Trello, you get to create different boards. And one of the boards that I've started for Dave is his portfolio board. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on his portfolio board to get into it. Within Trello, you're going to have several different pieces of a Trello board. You get started by having different lists on your board. Right now it kind of defaulted me to do, doing, and done. What I'm going to go ahead and do is actually change those. So if Dave was actually working on language arts, and math, we would just change these particular boards or lists to the subjects that he would be working on for the year. Now you can at any time change these, save them. You can add more. See, I can come over here to the little menu. This kind of gives me my notifications. I can hide that, but just by clicking on the little triangle, and I can actually add another list. So if I really needed to have science in here, I could also add another list for science. Now within Trello boards, not only do you have lists, but you also have cards. So on each list, I'm going to be able to add different tasks or things that I'm working on. So if I'm going to go over to the Language Arts tab and I'm going to add a card. So let's say that Dave is going to have a daily 5 card, not 4, not 6, daily 5. And under this card, he's actually going to be posting videos and pictures and audio recordings of all the different things that he's been doing in language arts for the year. So I can actually give it a little bit longer of a title if I want to, but I actually am just going to call it Daily 5 and call it a day. Also within language arts, I might have a writing card, which is where I would put and house all my writing projects. And I may even have a grammar and spelling card. Now the great thing about cards is that cards are actually really versatile. So I can actually move a card really easily from one list to another. So if I wanted to set this up a little differently, where I maybe didn't have it as just one piece of language arts, I would be able to move my cards all over the place. That's kind of helpful if you're going to be tracking a project, like for the to-dos, doing, and done. Let's go ahead and go into my language arts card that's daily 5. Once you're in the card, you're actually going to be able to give it some descriptions. So this is where we will be posting all of my great work for daily 5. And we can save that so that we have a little description. We also have an activity feed. The activity feed is actually going to post in based on chronological order. So anything that I do, the most recent thing is going to be up at the top of my activity, and the oldest thing will be at the bottom of my activity. So as Dave is working on different things in Daily 5, he can actually note when he's working on them. So if he is doing fluency checks during read to self, and he puts in his date, maybe he started his first one on 8/14, then he would actually be able to comment that and kind of show that he had been working on that on 8/14. He'd also be able to attach a file. So this is actually pretty neat because if he has saved an audio file on his computer, or if he saved an audio file into Google Drive, he would actually be able to access those and attach them to his Trello card. So I'm just going to go into my computer, and as you can see, I would just browse for the file that I'm looking for. Whether it's an audio recording or a Word document or a presentation, I can just attach it right to the card. So I'm just going to actually use an image as an example, even though it doesn't quite go with my fluency. I'm just going to go ahead and attach an image just so you can see what that looks like. And there you go. So now Dave has his attached image to this card, and it'll go with him as he's moving from one to the other. You can actually go in and look at it a little bit bigger whenever he wants to. He also has the ability to add in checklists and due dates for different things that he wants to be working on as well. I could also go ahead and put in a website if I want to. So let's say that Dave is working on a lot of different things within Daily 5, and he's created another website that he wants to put all his Daily 5 information in, or let's say he's just done a really great project on AudioBoo or one of the sites like VoiceThread where he can record his voice. He would actually be able to link that right in to his Trello. And that once he writes in a link, it just becomes a live link right away and he can go to it. So Dave also has some ability here to add in some labels. So if he wants to color code, make it a little easier for his teacher or for his parents as they're looking at his Trello portfolio, he can. And he's going to be able to get out of the card. And as you can see, as he's putting in video, as he's putting in pictures, he's going to be able to see them a little bit bigger within his card and do wonderful things that way. If you notice right up here in the top portion of his portfolio, I've actually made his board public. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that really quickly for you. Basically within Trello you have a couple of options. And this is true in the app as well as in the regular website. You have some options to make a board. The boards are typically as a default listed as private so that you'd have to log in order to see it. You also have what's called an organization. So that would be if there's multiple people working on the same project, they could be part of an organization. So if your class is working on some group projects, they could have some different Trello boards. Remember that even though we've been looking at Dave's portfolio, we could have multiple boards for different types of projects within the class. And then there's also an option for public, which is what I've made Dave's portfolio. And the reason being is because for a portfolio, we want to be able to share and show all of the different work that he's been doing. And so by making it public, it will show up in search engines, and it will be something that could be broadcasted out to the world. So you want to keep that in mind whenever you're setting up your Trello. Keep in mind that one of the most important components of a portfolio in general is going to be that reflection piece. So that's another reason that I really enjoy Trello. So let's say that I have all my artifacts kind of listed on cards within my different lists. One other option that I'm going to have is I'm going to go ahead and show my sidebar again. And if you notice, we've got a little menu here. I can actually do some different things with my boards or my lists. So let's say that my list is getting pretty long and I really have a lot on there. I can actually archive different items. If I archive them, they're not deleted, they're just hidden, which is absolutely wonderful. That way you don't have to look at all of your things all of the time. I also will have the ability to add more lists. So if I come over to my boards and what my lists aren't really cutting it for me, I would be able to go in and copy the list and make another one. So if I wanted to have multiple lists, maybe one for the first 9 weeks, one for the second 9 weeks, and vice versa, I could absolutely do that. Or if I decide that I want to create a list that's for reflection, because as we were talking about, that is one of the most important parts of your portfolio, I absolutely can do that as well. So I could even have a reflection list where all of those cards are going to be for me thinking through my reflection. So if like language arts, and here is my reflection. And this would be great at the end of the year. Once all of your artifacts are in the different boards, obviously they've probably been doing some reflection throughout the year, but it's kind of nice as well to have some reflection pieces. Oops. Another option that you might explore whenever you're getting closer to the end of the year is, once you've collected a lot of artifacts, you sometimes don't necessarily want all of them to be used for your finalized portfolio. So you could actually move cards over that you wanted to add to a different board. So hope you got a few things out of this beginning guide to Trello. Remember that we've just scratched the surface. We've only looked at one board with several lists. If you're interested and have questions, please let me know. Have a great day.